The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of The Process, and Stateside Urban Craft Vodka. Order it in 44 different states at statesidevodka.com. On the show today, the Sixers back in action without their two best players, and they just beat the Bulls' asses. Beat their asses. So we will talk about that. 1 year since we did the podcast when the NBA shut down. It has been 1 year tonight, so we'll talk about that. A interesting emailer asks what the NBA, specifically the Sixers, would look like if there were no three-point line. A question about when Mike might go back to his old haircut. And, of course, Michael Bivens, founding member of New Edition and Belle Biv DeVoe, will join us. He also, remember, he signed the Lost Boys. He's also a Celtics fan. Michael Bivens finally joins us on the Ricky. Before we get going, sign up for the YouTube channel. Support us. Support our producer, CJ. He does great work. You get the full show. You get highlights. And you get Mike O'Connor's columns and breakdowns. Subscribe right there. Leave us a comment. Smash that subscribe button. Do it. Without any further ado, Amos and the Chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Askian, along with a guy that just bought his brother, Puff Andy, a car on Instagram Live. That is Mike Levin.
Hello.
What's up, man?
I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good. I feel refreshed from the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
I feel refreshed from... I just spent a couple of days in Palm Springs.
You left?
It's my first time being out of my apartment
mm-hmm.
for a year.
Amazing.
So that was great.
I imagine.
That was great.
Yeah.
Genuinely great. And then the Sixers, without Embiid and Simmons, they beat the Bulls by 1,000. And then what a nice... And look, it's the Bulls. And they look bad. They look very bad. The Sixers beating anyone without Joel and Ben is a huge deal. They could have beaten the 10-72 Sixers, and it would be a huge deal. They could have beaten the coaching staff, and I'd be very excited about it. This is great. This is a great feeling and a very necessary feeling for everybody, including Doc. What a nice time.
Fully agreed. And especially that first quarter was some of the ugliest shit I've ever seen. I mean, it looked like a preseason game. Agree on all accounts. The Bulls looked like, I don't know how the Sixers with Embiid needed 50 points from Embiid to beat the Bulls. They look fucking terrible. That team looked terrible. But the Sixers did beat their ass. I mean, they beat that ass. Here is my question for you. Is it the Matisse Thybulle game? Is it the Tony Bradley game? Is it the Dwight Howard game? Whose game is it?
It's the everybody else game. It is a nice... It was just that everybody did their part. I mean, Tobias was cold early and then got to the rim, got to the line, played really nicely, was creating for other guys. I thought Korkmaz played great.
Yeah, that step back.
Step back was not. I thought he was cutting well. I thought he was driving. I think it was the best passing game of his career, which was cool.
What about his defense, though, Mike? Tell me his defense.
Loved his defense.
Yeah, there we go.
Loved his defense. I wouldn't say it was the best defensive game in his career, but 3 steals, a couple of finishes in transition.
There you go.
Through contact. getting in those passing lanes. Come on, attracting attention on drives.
There we go. That's what I wanted.
I thought it was great. It was a very, very in control. He only shot 1 of 6 from 3, but I like that he took them. And I was just happy to see him out there. He had a flash a nice smile at the end of the game. I thought that was good. The Tobias corner step back was also really nice. It was good that not only did they win in a game when the starting lineup comes out and it's Seth, Danny, Matisse, Tobias, Tony Bradley. And I'm like, Tobias is going to play 45 minutes tonight. Yeah. He's going to hope he had a nice all-star break because you are getting there. And he played 25. He played 25 minutes. He did not play the fourth quarter. What a really... And obviously they have a back-to-back tomorrow. But just the idea that they didn't need most of the guys. What a nice game. Everybody who played. And yeah, Matisse was out of his mind. I did predict. I'm not a victory lap guy. I'm more of a victory constant. Mm-hmm. I don't think I take a victory lap. I think even when I'm wrong, I feel like yet to be proven right. But I did on our last podcast say I feel like a Matisse hot month is coming, and he was 5 for 5 today, 3 for 3 from deep, 5 steals in the first half. Ridiculous. I mean, he was so hot that he deflected a pass on defense that went into the
basket.
Bulls basket.
Yeah.
I think that should count for him. Season high 13 points. I think he's been back cutting more and more, which I really like to see. I've been asking for that his whole career, just more of that. And I think he's been doing it. I would like guys to reward him for it more often. He had that really nice full speed contest in transition with his finishing with the left. It was just a really nice team game when we needed it. First game, good way to kick off the back half of the season.
Well, I am going to challenge one thing. I know you're taking a victory lap on it. I feel like I did yell at him and maybe bully him a little bit into hitting shots. I mean, when we were giving our grades, I insisted it's unacceptable that he be unplayable on offense. So I would actually like to take credit for it.
I'll give it to you.
Thank you. Tony Bradley, did he final line? He didn't miss a shot, did he?
7-7.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always had nice touch. His arms are very long, very long arms, which he used offensively to get some offensive boards. And finish at the rim, and also effective bench of shots on the defensive end, 3 blocks. Just a really nice. He went end to end with a steal and finish. He looked slow but fluid, I think is how I would say it. Like just like a regular NBA player, but just a little bit in slow motion. Like it didn't look like choppy or anything. It just was like someone has sort of adjusted the frame rate or something.
He's got some Okafor vibes on offense, the way he moves.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I don't think he tries to do as many post moves as Okafor loves to do. But, yeah, I think there's like a comfort. There's a softness to his hands that I think I always feel good about him going up with a shot in the sort of 3-foot area around the rim. And I thought there was a really nice giving credit to passing because I like a pass. Gorgeous Seth Curry bounce pass to Tony Bradley in the paint. That he finished nicely, and it was just Dwight had a good game. It's just a great. There's no complaints. What a delightful time.
Dwight was dunking hard. Dwight was fucking ran over,
catching lobs from everybody.
Ran over Markkanen, just destroyed Markkanen. I still love Markkanen.
Mike Scott threw a lob to Dwight. I can't imagine he's thrown many of those in his Sixers tenure. But Shake was throwing them. Korkmaz. It was a full team win. I thought Shake was hit and miss, but he had a couple really nice moments, finishing on awkward drives and stuff, sometimes forcing it, not getting the line, not getting whistled, but everybody was good.
Yeah, Shake still feels out of place all the time to me. I hope if you're listening to this, you understand what I mean. Not that he's in the wrong place, but I oftentimes...
You mean like out of sorts?
Yeah, like I oftentimes feel like he's playing a different game than everybody else is playing a little bit. He always plays frustrated or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think because he didn't do this in college. He didn't do this in his first year. I think he is taking a point to be like, I want to be the primary ball handler. I want to be the guy that does it. And I want to be able to get those foul calls. Right. And I feel like I'm earning those foul calls. And sometimes they're not giving it to me. And he's going to keep forcing it sometimes. So I think he like drives in, goes into the body, and is expecting the foul call, doesn't get it. He didn't go. He took 15 shots tonight, no free throws. I'm sure he would say that he deserved significantly more than that, but I think sometimes there is like, I think he's so long and he can extend so nicely. There was one towards I think in the third or fourth quarter, there was like a full speed drive and finish with his left full extension, and I like him using that more, not always trying to, because they'll foul him on that also, like not always trying to just go right into their chest, because that sort of, I think, makes it harder for him sometimes when he's not getting those whistles. But he still finishes nicely, even through that contact when they're not calling it. But I'm really not. The thing I'm most worried about with Shake is like, why does the ball look so heavy for him right now? I don't understand. Why on this outside shot does it look like he's throwing a bowling ball on there?
Yeah, it looks heavy on his passes, to be quite honest with you. I mean, like there's, you
think some of those protein muscles from media day went away?
Well, it could be that, or I mean, changing your body type that much. There's a reason that a lot of shooters don't lift weights that much and want to change their physical makeup. I'm not like saying that that's what it is. He could just be having, you look at non-elite good shooters, which is where I would put Shake. They have seasons where they shoot 33%, and then they have seasons where they shoot 40%. It just fucking happens. It could just be happening that he's shooting 31%, but what
odds would you give me that Shake finishes over 40% on the season?
Oh, over 40%?
40% or over. Like, let's say 39.5% or over.
Well, it's either 40% or it's not. Okay.
I'm a healthy round.
Okay.
I'm a very hefty round.
39.5. I would say 7-1 plus 700.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
You take it.
I'll take it.
You just take whatever I offer you. There's nothing at stake.
I would have taken it. So we'll call DraftKings, get on it.
The one thing that I'm sure you noticed that everybody noticed is that until the very, very end, everybody played but Tyrese Maxey, who is a little bit, maybe not in the doghouse, but Doc has very little trust in Tyrese Maxey right now.
Yeah. I mean, I truthfully have no problems with it. I don't know if Mike from 2013 watching, Damian Wilkins and just clomp around and whatever tenure of Kevin Ollie and Royale Ivy's career was that at that point with the Sixers. Because I love playing those young guys at the time, but now it's like this is number one seed in the East. Maxey has a ton of juice and a ton of potential, but just right now,
not ready
because of how. Not ready, but also like just not. There's too many holes, and too unwilling to do one particular thing, which is obviously shoot threes off the catch. Although he did take one tonight, that you just don't feel confident in it, and especially with other guys that are more capable, especially when Ben is in there. I think it's certainly a pointed thing to do when you're missing Ben and Joel, as far as like your two best sources of offense. The idea with Maxey is like, okay, at least like there's some immediate offense in there for himself, if not like quite yet creating for other people or getting to the line regularly or whatever. He can still at least like get his own shot. And for Doc to not play him there, I think is like a pretty clear sign that it's just not going to happen this year. Yeah, I feel good about Maxey going forward again, but I have no issues with Doc being like we gotta win some games, and especially when the bench played as well as they did tonight. I think it would have been like, hey, if anybody looks bad or slow or like they need a little infusion, I don't think it would have been hard for Doc to go to Maxey, but he didn't need it.
So good news, it's always nice weather out there in LA, Mike, but it's beautiful weather here in the Philadelphia area. 70 degrees today. And that is the only weather that my dog Rebel will walk more than 1.5 blocks. He has become a snob. If it's below 60, he's a 1-block dog. And if it's above 80 or so, he's a 1-block dog. So got to take a good walk.
I respect it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I've mentioned this. I remind him that he was homeless and also that he lived in Aruba where it was 100 degrees. So he shouldn't be that picky. In any case, we love our dogs. You love your dog. And that is why your dog needs a big Barker dog bed. BigBarker.com/Ricky. I was suggesting to Maury on Instagram, he posted a picture of his dog that he needs to get his dog a Big Barker. BigBarker.com/Ricky. BigBarker.com/Ricky. The reason you need to get it for your dog is because it is the only dog that is made thinking about your dog's health. That is true. It is made with your dog's health in mind. It is made to support the joints of your dog. It is made to help your dog age gracefully. It's made even if your dog's a young dog. Wake up in the morning, you don't want him feeling creaky. No, you want your dog feeling good in the morning. It's been proven. A Penn Vet study proved higher quality of life, lower pain severity, reduction in joint stiffness. All that comes from Big Barker. Do not be some loser that has your dog sleeping in some cheap-ass bed. Get him a Big Barker. Go to BigBarker.com/Ricky. You get the Ricky upgrade, which is 2 processed pup patches. Everybody, whether you like us or not, whether you go to the link or not, gets a 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten or they replace it for free. A 1-year at-home trial. If you don't like it, they give you a full refund. They even pay for the shipping. It's made right here in the USA. Big Barker dog beds.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't want. I'm certainly not overreacting. I do feel a little bit differently about Maxey than I think the party line is. He is small and he can't shoot. And he's not a point guard.
I don't think he can't shoot.
Well, he definitely can't shoot. He can't shoot yet.
No, I mean that's a different thing. I think he is a really confident mid-range. I think he's really confident from 17, 18. He's just got to bring his jumper back a little bit. But I think that's different from can't shoot. There's a whole host of mediocre shooters.
Well, okay, sure.
I wouldn't say he can't shoot.
I think he's probably a good bench guard. You've mentioned him as a starter a lot. He doesn't seem when I watch him, he doesn't really project as a starter to me. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think a little bit lower expectation than most do for Maxey. But
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, I think his floor is where he is now. I think it's pretty clear. I think his ceiling is a really special type of player that can score and finish all around the rim and defend his position and play tough on both ends of the court and have a high motor.
Who would a comp be for you? A ceiling comp.
I'm sure I've said this before, but I can't think of it in the moment.
Is it Lowry?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe Lowry's a good one, especially young Lowry before he got to be one of the smartest players in the game.
Yeah.
And Lowry bounced around for a while, and wasn't as good of a shooter at that point in his career. Yeah. Part of me was gonna say no, I'm not even gonna say it. It's a bad comp. I think Lowry's a good one. I think Lowry is a cool potential option. I think Aaron Brooks could be another option as far as a guy that was good for a couple years and then maybe fell off. But
I confused those two for a while. Aaron Brooks and Kyle Lowry were the same guy to me for a couple of years.
Yeah.
The hard to stomach. Do you have anything else on that game before we move on? We got a lot of other stuff.
Well, I got to give out my Dannies.
Right.
My Dannies of the game. There was one. I'll give one to Matisse when he passed it to Tony Bradley in transition, and Tony Bradley was not looking.
Okay.
Also, I don't know if you want Tony Bradley running the break.
Right.
Contested, which is fine. And then of course, Danny giving it to himself. A casual finger roll going down the baseline that he missed by 4 feet. So good for both of them, the Dannies of the game.
I'd like to give the Bulls an honorary Danny to both Zach LaVine and Tomas Satoransky as they, on a 2-0 fast break, both watch the ball sail out of bounds. I think that I know we don't give Dannies to players on the other team, but
it's fine.
It looked
they earned it. How it's been a while since he played, so maybe whatever. But holy crow, Otto Porter.
Oh, so slow.
Looks bad.
Yes.
Really bad and very fast, and did not seem. And I don't really know what's going on there. He seemed to be missing every game the past 2 seasons, and it seemed there wasn't seemed to be a real rush back for him. I don't know, but yikes, that's a big contract for a lot of nothing. And people, and I think maybe me included, I really loved Otto Porter on Washington. I thought he was a really cool player and a fun kind of do it all combo forward. around those guys. People wanted him more than Tobias.
Right.
And he is. Otto Porter is on that Nick Batum Charlotte kick.
Yeah.
It is a tough slide for them.
He looks like
But
he's
it's cool to
aged
see-
20 years. He's so slow.
Yeah. Yes. And he's an old looking guy to begin with. Like he came out of Georgetown. Yeah. Looking quite slow. They're quite old with the mustache and everything. Lauri Markkanen hitting everything.
I fucking love that guy.
I would love to see him on a team. I think him and Wendell Carter is an interesting pairing. I want to see them together, but Lauri's expiring, and I wonder if Chicago's going to be like, let's get something for him. And I wonder if the Sixers are a possibility there, because he can't really defend, especially can't defend like big guys. Dwight just like manhandled in the post, but he's a really good shooter, like a legitimately good shooter, and I think like a kind of a creative player. And I would be interested in seeing like on him on a good team, what could happen, and could you cobble together enough backup 5 minutes against smaller ball bench units without Joel to use Lowry and just like fire from three forever.
I'd rather have him than that dipshit in Sacramento that reneged on his deal with us.
Way more expensive. Marketing will be.
Well, he's
for sure.
You think people will really offer anything for him? They obviously don't want him, or they would have like they like let him, like they're letting him become unrestricted. They didn't extend him.
Yeah, it seems to be a weird situation. I forget where it might have been on Zach Lowe, but they seem to like still want to retain him. I don't know why you would try to do that but not let him walk, but the Bulls are such a shit show. The Bulls are really, I feel absolutely nothing for them. I was gonna say I feel bad, but I don't. They're just like aimless. There's just a nothing. Mark Eversley's there. Mark Eversley watching Matisse Thybulle dominate him, and Mark was obviously very instrumental in the Matisse pick. Happy birthday, Elton Brand. Happy birthday, Elton Brand's fake Twitter account. I would take a swing on Mark, and I think somebody will try to. And I think I could see somebody throwing out like a late first for him, even with the opportunity to like sign him with their bird rights.
Happy birthday, Elton Brand's fake Twitter account.
Hey man, they earned it. They put the work in.
Yep.
God bless them.
Mike, I have a email to read you from an emailer. I don't know. Well, I know her name, but I don't know if she wants it in there, so I'm going to leave it out. Hey, Mike. Hey, Spike. I'm a listener by association. My boyfriend listens to all your podcasts after work while he's cooking or doing things around the house, all of them. Mind you, because of the pandemic, we're home together pretty much 24/7 in a small one-bedroom apartment, so this means I also listen to your podcast. Sometimes I feel like I have...
This is Alyssa.
Sometimes I feel like I have 3 roommates. I don't know who the other one is. But anyway, I just want you to let you know that I reached out to Kornblau for some legal advice at the repeated encouragement of my boyfriend, and that Adam was so incredibly helpful. I also thought you'd appreciate the beginning of the email I sent. Hello, Mr. Kornblau and Kornblau. My boyfriend Sean listens to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast, so I hear about your law firm a lot. In other words, it's Spike's fault that he encourages any listener with any legal problems to contact you, and Sean's fault for listening to Spike's advice and encouraging me to send this email. By the way, they live in Portland. Not only did Adam email me back, but we spoke on the phone. He called a local Portland law firm on my behalf. They called me for intake, and Adam followed up with me on the phone to make sure that I got in contact with the law firm, all in less than 24 hours. What a quality dude. Adam Kornblau really made a task that would have been stressful and time-consuming so easy and effortless for me, for which I am so appreciative. There you go. It's a beautiful email.
Love that.
Yeah. Kornblau and
Around the country.
Yep. Portland. Like, that's not even close to here. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of The Process. Adam Kornblau helping out our listeners all over the place. The premier boutique personal injury law firm in the Delaware Valley. Look, he's going to take care of you. If you're injured in any way, don't shrug it off, slip and fall, injured at work, car accident, whatever. Call Kornblau if you're hurt. See if you have a case. He's going to take care of you like he took care of that anonymous person. Doesn't cost you anything. 215-576-7200. Ask for Adam. 215-576-7200. Ask for Adam. Or email kornblau@kornblau.com. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of The Process. The hard to stomach YouTube comment of the week. If you leave a comment right there. You could be it. It's brought to you this week by Stateside Vodka, our friends at Stateside Vodka. Announcement coming soon from Stateside Vodka. We're excited. It was a great mailbag from Zoe. They're the sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter.
Happy birthday, Zoe.
Happy birthday, Zoe. Happy birthday, Zoe. And Zoe's fake Twitter account.
That's right.
Yep.
All of Zoe's burners.
Stateside Vodka, distilled 7 times, gluten-free, kosher, carb-free, delicious, made right here in Philly. 44 states. People can order it at statesidevodka.com or just get it in stores here, PA, Delaware, Jersey. Statesidevodka.com. Must be 21 to enjoy. And to sign up for the newsletter, right to RickySanchez.com/newsletter. This week's Hard to Stomach YouTube comment of the week comes from Matt McCullough. Mike doesn't look like Mike anymore. I feel like you have a new host. He's talking, obviously, about the hair and the hats.
Yeah.
This is my question for you, Mike.
Yeah.
You took a little, time out, went to Palm Springs,
Yeah, just me and Alyssa.
Just you and
Nobody
Alyssa.
else.
Yeah, no one assumed you took a bus of people.
I just want to make clear, I'm still keeping it tight. And it was a place. It was actually Alyssa's childhood babysitter's Airbnb that we went to, which is a wild thing. And so we knew it was very clean and clear. We made sure all the precautions.
You can.
I just want to be upfront about it. Nobody's loosening the reins here.
All right.
We're saying it.
I don't think anyone who's listening to the podcast has any doubt.
Good. Good.
Yeah. They're like, if they heard you went to Palm Springs, huh? Bet he went to some party with a bunch of people.
Bet he's loosening the reins. Well, guess what? He's not.
The question is,
he's not.
In fact, they made sure the Airbnb was cleaner and safer than even where Mike lives. Right.
We wanted to hear. It probably is. It was probably pretty dirty as hell in this friggin' apartment.
The question is, as we begin to come out of this, as we see the light at the end of the tunnel, what does that mean for your hair?
Yeah. It's bad. It's not a good look.
I like it.
It's pretty rough. We went in a hot tub at the place, and it is. It's just grimy and gross and long and totally uncut. It's been like a year and 3 months or 2 months since I've cut it.
Oh, you didn't get a cut before the pandemic, right? Okay.
Yeah, I got a cut probably January, probably right before I started on Young Rock.
Okay.
I wanted to have a good boy haircut, 2 weeks before. So not just the right when it started, but a little before, so I could be I got a haircut before, but not yesterday. It's cool. It's all chill. I would think that once I get vaccinated, I would probably try to get a professional haircut with this. With in the some style with a longer hair, just to be what's that going to look like?
Okay.
And then if it's I don't like it, and then I'll be let's just shave it off and go back to the way it was probably. But I want to try. I feel like I have all this clay of this dumb head of hair, and I also might donate it. It feels like somebody, I don't know who would want this hair, but if someone would want the hair, someone that needs hair, I'd be happy to donate it to anybody.
Locks of love. You're sending
lots of love. And
your fucking COVID hair to
thank
Locks.
You. We'll say please declined. Please throw this out. But yeah, I want to see what an actual haircut with this hair looks like, and then I'll try to live with that for a little bit, and then we'll probably just go back to a shortcut.
You look like Jennifer Aniston from Friends, maybe get that.
Yeah,
cut.
give me the Rachel, and let's see how it looks, and let me try it on. Let's see how it affects the personality.
Can you imagine Locks of Love gets the package, and they're like, "Who the fuck during the pandemic is sending us fucking hair? What's going on?" Anyway,
I'm sure a lot of people.
Yes,
I can't be the only one that has not gotten a haircut this whole time.
No, you're not. You're not. I think it's a thing. A lot of people did it. Did you? So just so you're not surprised when it came out. Abby, who does our art, at Dig Rupert, Digrupert. If you want to get her for a commission, she'll always text me the day of the pod, and she'll be like, "So what's the vibe for tonight, boss?" She wants to know what she should draw. And I was and I just looked at the Ben Simmons story of him buying his brother the car, and I had just read this YouTube comment, and I was like, "Huh? How about short-haired Mike buying long-haired Mike a car on Instagram Live?"
Oh wow!
She was
excited to see that.
She was sometimes she goes, "I don't know if I'll be able to do that," and she was like, "Got it." She was done. She did. There was no debate. Yeah. There's no debate. So tonight is speaking of your venture out and the hair tonight, I don't even know what there is to say, but it is amazing that it has been a year since we did a podcast the night the Sixers played the Pistons, and
did we really?
We did. It was I remember like laughing, not because it was funny, but because the whole thing was so absurd. But we did do. I'm 99% sure we did a pod that night because it's the same night that the Gobert thing happened. It happened that night, right? So I know we did a pod the night of the Gobert thing. I will say that we did a pod that night. I'll remember where I was when I saw it, and I do specifically remember sitting down and doing the podcast. It is amazing that we didn't stop doing the podcast the entire time. It is amazing that it's been a year and you still haven't had a haircut. I don't, it's been a terrible year for a lot of people, and we've lost a lot of life, and it's been, the people that have survived have gone, a lot of people have gone through a lot of things, and it wasn't even just COVID this year. Like, there were a lot of fucking things that happened this year. It's wild to think back to that night and that it's been a year. That's all. Like, I don't really have anything else on it except for I can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah, no, it sucked. It's been a shitty year. It's been bad, and it's exciting that it's big light at the end of the tunnel, all that stuff. But it's been tough. I know tons of people have lost folks, and I've lost folks. And I went to a Zoom bris the other day.
Oh, that's weird.
Just a surreal thing. Yeah. My buddy said that his kid has a gorgeous penis, so that's nice to say about your child. And I've been to some Zoom funerals, and it's one of those. We've talked about this before, but I think it's the kind of thing where we're still in it, and we'll be dealing with the effects of just like what this has done to everybody's brains for a long time. But yeah, I mean, everybody's just getting by, and kudos to everybody's helping out and doing everything they can to help their people or other people or whatever it is. But it feels both so much longer than a year and also like 5 minutes. Like, I don't know how to process it. Yep. The length of time, because it's just all of it at the same time.
Well, it's one of those things where every day, because there's so little change day to day, it does give that Fight Club feeling of like you lose. I think that the feeling that you're trying to describe is like time. It feels long and it feels short because time hasn't passed like it normally does. So it's just like one big blur of, one day and 1 week and 1 month all feels like the same thing to a certain extent sometimes. It's weird. Yeah. It's a weird year.
Yeah, let's move the fuck on.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't want to be doing this anymore. There was I do want to say one nice thing. The Embiid tweeted during the game, okay, that I've seen enough build around Tony Bradley.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then post-game, Doc gave the quote that he wasn't impressed simply by the fact that Embiid was watching. He better be watching the games. Him and Ben, that's their job, which I thought is true and really solid. I really enjoy Doc's like personality. It seems like guys like playing for him. I'm sure guys in the past have not as much, but it seems like this team likes playing for him. But he's really a delight to just kind of be around, just tertiarily,
Well, I think specifically this era of Doc, because he's at the point in his life where he's like, when somebody asks him a question, there's no suffering of fools. There is no like nonsense. There's just like, if somebody asks him a question he doesn't know the answer to, he's like, I don't know. Like somebody asked him today what he wanted out of Tobias Harris. He's like, I don't know, score 50 points.
It's great. He's like, this is my fourth fucking team. I had the worst playoffs of all time last year. Yeah. I just got a 5-year deal. They hired me before the GM. I got 2. It's fine. I'm gonna be fine. Whatever. Let's do this. Like he's a little bit senioritis and a little bit like, I know I'll turn it on when we need to. Okay?
Yep. just some odds and ends. There's a big story. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the writer, and I shouldn't have tried to remember it. I should have just put it in my list here, but basically wrote that Kyle Lowry's not getting traded, and then there were some weird quotes from Kyle Lowry afterwards that didn't really, like, he could have just said, yes, I'm staying here the rest of the year, and he didn't. So I still think it was a bargaining ploy. I don't know that the Sixers are going to get him, but I certainly think Toronto feels comfortable not trading him, and just, he's a legend. So on that team, but I don't think that article means that he's not getting traded. That's
I feel that. I mean, my only thing is with Toronto is like, do you trade him, get something for him, and then want to build around VanVleet at that position and let him really take over? Because with Lowry there, it's like they share it and stuff, and is there like a level of like vote of confidence? Let's let him do this by himself and see how really good VanVleet could get. And while also like, because he's expiring, getting something for him and doing right by him if he does end up wanting to come to Philly.
Yeah, I think it's fluid. That would be my answer. That's fluid. Jason,
2 weeks until the deadline.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, 25th is the deadline. Jason Dumas reports that I know basically for a fact that the guy's always got good Sixers sources. He is from here, but he works out in Arizona. He says that the Sixers have shown interest in Will Barton, PJ Tucker, George Hill, DeLon Wright, that the last three we've heard of before. Will Barton. I've always liked. I don't think he's exactly what they need, but he's something. He would be a good player to have. I'm sort of in the position. I feel differently than you, I think, about the Lowry thing a little bit, in that I'd rather they just sort of trade little tiny stuff for a player that might be able to help and see how this year goes, as opposed to overspending for something like Lowry at this point. Will Barton would be good, but somebody's going to trade something of value for Will Barton, right?
I'm surprised why Denver would want to move him. I mean, I guess he's a mostly offense, limited defense guy. Not a can't play him defense guy, but just like not a positive. And their three best players are zero to low defense guys. So why not surround them with more guys who are capable of manning up more and taking on a bigger role? Will Barton's a good player. I mean, he's not having his best year, but maybe because he doesn't want to be there. I think there's been especially with MPJ stepping up, there's been like 6 starters on Denver who all want to start and all want to like kind of claim the role of starter, including, Gary Harris in there. And I think Will Barton's kind of the odd man out, and I think he's just ready to not be there anymore, maybe. So hopefully there's a little, if he comes here, he would step up a little bit. Can handle the ball, can get his own shot. Goodish shooter, but not a sort of let it fly shooter, not like an unconscious from threes. He's averaging currently his fewest threes per 36 minutes of the past like 6 or 7 seasons. So that feels like a Sixer to me. But I think it would help for sure. The Sixers are basically like, in the playoffs, you're going to get 2 of Embiid, Simmons, and Tobias on the court at all times. Depending on, that's what I want. And Doc has shown a penchant of taking out Simmons and Embiid at the same time so far this season, or a similar time, letting them sit together. And I do wonder if that'll hold up in the playoffs. So Tobias needs another guy, especially with Shake being like a little hot and cold. Tobias needs another guy to like be on the court with him. We need a couple more guys that can create their own shot, because without Ben and Joel, aside from tonight, the offense just craters too often without those guys.
Yep. And that's one of the Shake Milton things, is that he hasn't been able to consistently enough, solve that, so. Yeah. What else next on the list? You never have anything to say about it, but the Sixers have, how many fucking uniforms are NBA teams going to have?
A lot. Did you see? I didn't see. I'm gonna butcher this, but there was a the Sixers are like top 5 in merch sales.
Number 5.
But have no jerseys in the top 10.
No jerseys in the top 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that is because the jerseys are mediocre?
No.
Or
well,
it's like an Embiid Simmons thing that they haven't quite taken the lead?
I don't feel like Embiid's got a ton of fans that aren't Sixers fans. I don't know why. But I don't get that vibe, you know? And I get that vibe of players on other teams, but I never get it from Embiid. And maybe it's because he's been motherfucking every player on every team that we've played for the last 4 years. Maybe that's it. I don't think Simmons is there. Like I wouldn't guess that Simmons would be in the top 15. But now that I think about it, I don't think of Embiid as a star to other NBA fans. Not that they don't think he's good, but the same way that when his shoe came out, and I wonder if big guys, was Jokic one of the top 15? I wonder.
I didn't see.
Yeah.
But I think there's certainly a big guy bias. I would assume that because of like international fans, you'd get a little bit more of a bump, especially Ben, because Australia seems to be like so crazy.
Yeah, but they only have like 15 million people there. There's not enough people.
Well, they all should have a jersey.
It's not like Yao Ming, like it's one thing if you're from China, you know,
Sure.
or a European player, but
Yeah.
speaking of and I think every Sixers alternate uniform is fucking trash. I think they all suck. The only ones that were okay, and they weren't great, were the cream ones, not the ones that looked like they were drawn with crayon. The Unite or Die ones, maybe 2 years ago, were okay, I guess. What do I know? I'm old. I don't know what's good, but I think they're all
New
bad.
Philly, baby.
Yeah,
Come on.
Put Philly on it. Let me tell you, Chris Heck, Scott O'Neal, whoever's listening, if you put Philly on a fucking jersey, and I know, Chris, you think New Philadelphia, whatever, just put, Amos Lee has been saying this for years now, put Philly on a jersey, not...
Well, it's too low class, Spike.
Yeah.
Nobody under a certain tax bracket that they're trying to appeal to says Philly. It's gross. Disgusting.
None of the kids who row crew say Philly. The next thing, and thank you to Sixers Reddit for pointing this out. They found it on his Instagram. Did you know Furkan Korkmaz has a logo?
I didn't.
He does an FK logo. And CJ, if you go to the Reddit, you could put it up on the screen for YouTube. Just go to Sixers Reddit and see it. It's just funny.
Good.
Cork has a logo. I would wear Cork shoes. Mike, what are the two things that I've talked about betting on? The two things I've talked about doing on DraftKings. See if you get this right.
Well, it's the Ben Simmons 3.
Yep.
You love betting on the big game. That doesn't seem like
No. I also play a game regularly.
Blackjack?
Yes. So
Hey, listen.
DraftKings has combined the Sixers and the blackjack. That's right. Sixers blackjack on DraftKings.com. They have the casino on there. It's got a Sixers branded blackjack table, which is amazing. The first time I played, I won $118. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. DraftKings, an official partner of the 76ers. It's right there in the Sportsbook app, the top-rated Sportsbook app. And, by the way, I had Sixers plus 130 before the game tonight. I tweeted out that pick for everybody. I liked the Sixers tonight. DraftKings Casino right now. You go in there. If you want to play Sixers Blackjack, go into Casino and then go to Table Games, and it's right there. Hundreds of different ways to play slots, blackjack, roulette, and, of course, the Sportsbook. U.S.-based, safe, secure. You make your deposit. It goes right in. You make your withdrawal. It comes right out. I think they'll even send you a check. I get mine to PayPal. I think my withdrawal comes to PayPal. Anyway, download the DraftKings Casino app now, or just the Sportsbook app because Casino's in there, and use promo code RTRS to get a deposit bonus up to $1,500. That's promo code RTRS to earn a deposit bonus up to $1,500. And if you take advantage of this right now, DraftKings will give you $10 in free credits. That's code RTRS to receive these great offers. So you First-time user, $10 of free credits. Use it on Sixers Blackjack. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Penn National Racecourse. Restrictions apply. Deposit and bonus amounts require 10 times playthrough at various contribution rates. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is not for you, but I'm imagining Korkmaz weighing in on his logo the way Real Housewives of New York, Sonia Morgan, weighs in on hers. And there are 6 people loving that reference right now.
Yeah,
I
don't know that one.
It's fine. I don't need it for you, but I just want them to know I see you. I'm doing it for you.
Before we get to the mailbag, I'm going to be honest with everybody on the pod. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with the listener. I don't know. I know you've been in Palm Springs, so I don't know what you've been doing. I did not watch one of the bubble G League playoff games, and I'm not proud of it, but when the All-Star break came along, I was just like, you know what? I could use a break from watching basketball. I watched Anthony Simons win the fucking dunk contest, and the worst dunk contest of all time. Still a win for me, but I didn't watch any of G League. Did you watch any of B-Ball Paul, Rajon Tucker, and Isaiah Joe in the G League playoffs?
Spike, I only went to Palm Springs for 2 days.
Okay.
So it was my first time being there. Of course I watched some Delaware Blue Coats. Are you kidding? Spike, what a question is that? Yeah, I watched some B-Ball Paul. He looked great. Come on. B-Ball Paul. Tough loss in the championship game, but I think I like a get to the championship game, lose, be hungry for more,
yeah.
Feel a little bit. I would have felt like, too many of the Sixers would feel like, I don't know, we don't need to try that hard. We already won the G League title. And so this is like, let's be hungry for more. Let's get that, because B-Ball Paul looking good. Isaiah Joe hoisting everything. Rajon Tucker hoisting and getting to the rim looking good. Justin Robinson, intriguing as just a tempo assist guy, just like control the offense. They're a good team. And we interviewed the Blue Coats coach and GM.
We should get them back on
Blue Coats night.
We should get them back on, like where we can actually hear them.
That's true.
Yeah,
that was a tough time for them to make their rookie debut, but it was cool. What, Connor Johnson and Matt Lilley, right? Those are the names?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they assembled a nice team, and they're good. And I wish they actually, Braxton Key is a really interesting player. Went to Virginia and then transferred to Alabama for last year. There's some really, I like my G League guys. So I'm happy for them. I'm happy they got there. And I'm sorry they had to run up against the Magic, who just seem to win every Summer League and G League title. It just feels like that's their zone.
Doesn't seem to translate.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I don't know this for sure, but I think Matt Lilley listens on occasion. So if you are Matt Lilley, Connor Johnson, come on the Ricky. Congratulations. By the way, the last championship the Sixers won was in Orlando Summer League. And then they lose in Orlando, their next championship opportunity.
That's fair.
The Lorenzo Brown mailbag writes to rickysanchez@gmail.com. Send us a basketball and a non-basketball question. This one comes from Mark. A thought experiment. If the three-point line were eliminated tomorrow, do you think the Sixers would continue to shoot from outside, or does everything just collapse toward the paint? Obviously, there are benefits to shooting from outside beyond the fact that that 3 points are worth more than 2, notably the floor spacing it provides. Is it still worth it for them to get Embiid some space, even if sinking a shot from beyond isn't worth as many points? Does it actually become harder for defenders now that there's no defined perimeter to prevent shots from? Is this a new lease on life for the mid-range? What do you think would happen? Because what I would say, is that players have become so proficient shooting from far away that even though it would only be from 2, it still wouldn't be a bad shot like it would have been 40 years ago, 30 years ago. I don't know what the game would look like if there wasn't a three-point
line. So the idea of why a long 2 is bad is because it's the hardest shot to make for the lowest amount of point value.
Right.
And so I do think that there would be, I think spacing is still important.
Mm-hmm.
I think guys would just maybe rotate less and, pack the paint to keep them out of the. I would say pack the paint, keep guys from getting fouled. So at least eliminate that. Eliminate shots at the rim and just say, if you want to take 40 long twos, 50 long twos, then go for it. So I think it would result in probably a lot of deep open shots, but I don't know how effective those teams would be.
Well, you mentioned that the long two is the basically the lowest value shot because it's the hardest for the lowest amount of points. Now that is not for every player, right? Like there are some players that are specifically good at those shots. I do think that, when you look at 3-point percentage now, just average 3-point percentage compared to when the 3-point shot started, what was it, like 83 or something like that, 84. Players are much better at it and they adjusted. Now, if you just did this immediately, I think players like Tobias Harris, who does shoot well from 16, 17, 18 feet away, would provide value. I think only the best 3-point shooters would still shoot from out there, the Steph Currys of the world. And their value might even go up, I think, on some level, because they're so good. Why? Well, because they would be one of the few players that could create space that value shot for that points would still be a decent value shot. Like there are very few players who shoot well enough from out there to make it valuable even if it was 2 points, especially because there would be fewer players to do it. So I think players like that would still be valuable. Because remember, the one thing that you're saying would happen is they would let you shoot it. Well, NBA players are really fucking good at shooting if you just let them shoot. So an unguarded Steph Curry out there might shoot 68% from out there,
Yeah. I do think the reason, I think some people conflate things about saying, oh, there's so many threes just because of math. But I do think that a lot of it is, especially if you have a guy like LeBron, Simmons, Luka, Embiid, guys who either command a lot of the paint inside Zion, like guys who command a lot of attention in the paint, or you want to have a lot of runway, even guys like, Dame and whatever. Mm-hmm. You just want spacing. I think spacing is almost on its own. Even if those threes didn't count for more points, I think that they would still be back there because you want that space. And so I think sometimes they conflate like, oh, guys just want them to hoist threes all the time, when really it's those guys are so good. The primary ball handlers on a lot of teams, Harden, obviously, like those kinds of guys, that opponents are just willing to or have to come down to help because they can't be covered one-on-one. And in order to get them the most space, those guys are standing out by the 3-point line. And so then it's like, well, you have to shoot that because it's a first open shot. I think it's less about like we need to take a ton of threes and more we need to create space for our best player to operate. And then it's the take what the defense gives you, and they usually give you an outside shot.
I think it's most of the time that. Sometimes it's let's beat you over the head with math.
Sure.
Like I think that's what Utah's doing, and that's why their fake regular season goofball trick shit will not work in the playoffs. But most of them are what you're talking about. It would be an interesting question, I think, to ask Maury. I would love to ask Maury that question. Daryl, if you're listening,
the answer is probably,
what is your answer?
The answer is probably both,
Yeah.
I think they like the math, and also if you have a good player that you want to have as much space to operate and handle the ball and get to the rim as possible, then you want them out there.
No, I meant I would want to hear Maury. I would want him to describe what would happen if they just took away the 3-point line. Non-basketball question. What assurances can either of you provide that the Ricky isn't turning into the plot of the movie Fight Club? I've always enjoyed the more cult-like elements of the pod, the in-joke sayings, the uniforms, i.e. T-shirts, the closely observed customs. However, that email from the last pod, the guy who was willing to do whatever it takes just to get a tattoo that Mike mentioned offhand, has me wondering if we've now crossed over into Project Mayhem type territory. Consider the comparisons. Fight Club is led by two guys. A sub-question, what assurances can you provide that you guys aren't one person?
That's true.
It appeals to disaffected people on the margins of society / the basketball landscape. It starts out about one thing, fighting the Sixers before taking on a life of its own, to wit, performance anxiety in urinals, the right way to poop, etc. And people start literally marking their bodies to signify involvement in the club, either with tattoos or T-shirts. Are either of you concerned that you'll wake up one day and find a bunch of weirdos outside your house chanting, "Yeah, you know, lick face," just as the characters from Fight Club once chanted, "His name is Robert Paulson"? Is there?
Look, it's not. I think people reference Fight Club too much. Is my honest opinion. Well, and I think a lot of people get the wrong read out of Fight Club, that it's like this manly movie, and it's super fucking not.
Yeah, I thought I definitely think there was a split down the middle as to, certainly when it came out, what people thought the movie was actually about. I was a big fan of the movie, but I think today anyone who cares about it understands the movie, don't you think?
I think some people just like the idea of like punching people in basements.
Really? Well, I guess it doesn't sound that bad, I guess. I mean, I would not participate. And you'll be happy to know that my cover band was named Project Mayhem. So there you go. That's a true story. One day I'll post some of the audio on this pod. This comes from Hunter. Hey, Spike and Mike, longtime listener to the pod. Can't thank you guys enough for the hours you've put in. This helped me through many hard times. Basketball question. I've been thinking about the importance of Embiid winning the MVP relative to the Sixers winning the championship. To establish some sort of scale, the Sixers winning a championship this year would be 100% meaningful. This, of course, is assuming you value a championship more than the MVP. Maybe you don't. Under this scale, what percent meaningful is Embiid winning the MVP? You can apply different scales if you think of a better option. To clarify, this question is only about how you feel, not the NBA, not Philadelphia as a whole, not Ramona Shelbourne. So, if a championship is 100% meaningful, how meaningful is a Joel Embiid MVP to you?
I will say it's 100. A championship is 100% meaningful, like if everybody's vaccinated and we can like have a real parade and like really celebrate for it. I will feel if it's like 15% capacity or anything because we're not quite there yet or something. I'll feel like we were a little bit robbed of something, you know? Is that fair to say?
It's hard to say. I think obvious. I agree and disagree. I agree in that if you took a step back and looked at it, you would say they are being robbed of something. However,
we are being robbed of something.
But if you were taking a step back and looking at us, is what I'm saying. If somebody was looking at us, they would say, look at them. Because I remember watching the Lakers one. Now, that was a different story than whatever this year will be. But the Lakers won that this past year with their fraud championship over the Heat. But I think in it, as we were watching it, it would feel just as meaningful. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. The feeling would to me, and
I'm not saying it's like 40% meaningful. I'm saying it'd be like 99.5 instead of like a full. I would feel a little bit robbed if.
So where do you put MVP in comparison to that and beat MVP?
And so I guess, well, it's tough to extricate them together because MVP voting wouldn't be like announced until like after the conference finals, isn't it usually? Pretty late after it.
Oh yeah. Well, I think they do it after the final. Don't they do like an award show now or something? Or
I don't remember if it's after the finals or not. I remember like Giannis was knocked out of the playoffs by that point, but I thought that the playoffs.
Let's make pretend, for the sake of the argument, because they have ruined the MVP that way, that the MVP is announced.
It's really stupid.
In between Game 1 and Game 2 of the first round. Like let's just for argument's sake say it doesn't get ruined that way.
At that time, I would give it like a 95%. Like it's pretty. I mean, it's Embiid. Mm-hmm. Like if some other Sixer in the future, if Tyrese Maxey becomes the best player in the league somehow, and he wins MVP, that would be like lower than a championship. But because it's Embiid, because he's been here for so long, because he's gone through what he's gone through, because he was a hinky guy, I think like it's very close. It's not a championship, but it's very close.
It's equal for me. It's
That's fair.
Seeing
That's fair for me.
Embiid raise the fucking MVP trophy is as victory as it can be. I think on some level, and it again because it's him. I think I would feel, and maybe even a little more emotional for him. But then he would be winning the championship, so
of course,
So
I want it. I want both, and it should be both.
Yeah.
I just know. I want like a no doubt. I want like a no doubt about it. Like Embiid wins MVP, and then Embiid is the best player on a championship team. That Simmons is also therefore playing at a high level basketball, with a ton of with Korkmaz contributing, with Rajon Tucker getting a meaningful minute, B-Ball Paul getting in there, dribbling out the clock, all our classic process guys. I want to no doubt about it that like, I mean, everybody, we're not going to get the people that still think the process was a bad idea or that it wasn't like worth it or something. We're never going to get them, but I do want to no doubt about it. Like, hey, Joel Embiid, the guy that they were bad for like one extra season for and waited for because he was worth it. He was the MVP and then was the best player on the championship team. So, yeah, I was willing to wait like another year to not be like, I don't know. Look how many mediocre teams there are right now.
Yeah,
it's still so stupid. It's still so stupid that they do that. Nobody's talking about the Timberwolves right now and talking about how like it wasn't worth it to try to get better so that they can be good enough for too long. Like they've been a miserable team for so long.
For like 3
and they
decades.
have like a number 1 pick
in
Towns and traded for a number 2 pick in D'Angelo. And like there's like guys it's like they did it wrong. And nobody cares because they didn't brand it as well as the Sixers did, or as I guess we and the rest of Sixers Twitter did. And so, whatever. Fuck them. Let's win a championship.
From Jake, Spike and Mike, I was wondering why you guys think Blark never panned out. I've been listening to the pod for a long time. I don't think I can recall Mike being higher on a draft prospect than he was on Blark, including Joel. If he's currently wasting away in an obscure European league, is there any way Morey can fly him over and see what he's got? It'd be big for him to be part of a championship team.
No, that'd be huge for Blark to come in. I think there's a lot of Blark acolytes that are in the league that's sort of like proteges of Blark.
Yep.
Like Alexei Pokashevsky is Blark adjacent. Anzej Pasechniks is nothing like Blark. He's absolutely nothing like him remotely at all. But yeah, sadly in the pandemic, Blark has stopped playing basketball to help vaccinate as many people as possible with his long wingspan. But afterwards, man, once he's got that done, I think he's coming over.
2 more from Colin. Hey, Spike and Mike, what the hell is that word? Imbibe? I don't know that word. IMBIBE. Do you know that?
Yeah, that means drink.
Okay. Let's imbibe in the vibes and assume that it's a fact that the Sixers win the championship this year. Which team would you take the most pleasure in vanquishing? The top 4 West contenders all have rival players that would make a finals win extra sweet. Jazz, weirdly becoming our biggest rival outside of Boston. The Lakers, beating LeBron. Denver, Embiid defeating the NBA Twitter and the B-Ball reference advanced stats tab darling would be cathartic, especially if Jokic steals the MVP, or the Clippers.
Embiid's advanced stats are also great. We don't need to. It's not like any either or. There,
yeah.
Let's just say.
And actually, I would say that Gobert is the advanced stats only guy, not Jokic. Jokic, you can watch and you can tell is good. And Clippers, a much needed revenge game against Kawhi and revenge for Doc.
Yeah, the point he's making, I'm looking at the email, the point he's making that Doc doesn't really feel like our guy yet, but having him beat the team that fired him less than a year ago would be a great story, and reality TV drama with Seth getting revenge on Paul George and Doc getting revenge on Paul George, I think is also great. I like any of those options. I like absolutely any of those options. I think Denver to me, and maybe Utah also. Denver's really just a U thing, and I guess an Embiid Jokic finals would be very cool for everybody. But there's a little bit of like Tampa Bay
Yeah.
to Denver and maybe a little bit Utah. Although the Utah rivalry is now like has been going on long enough that it's like there's some real issues happening here.
Yeah.
So that would be cool, but it would be pretty dope to beat. It'd be cool if the Jazz made the play. I mean, I like when kind of smaller market teams or teams that don't make it very often get there. I think there's just it's a more exciting, like special feeling. But it'd also be dope to beat the Lakers and hold it over Alyssa's head for the rest of time.
I would love to beat Utah, but I've talked them down so much. It makes it seem like it wasn't even it would be fun. Beating the Lakers with LeBron on them is the best win. I just don't even. All of them would be fine. For me, particularly Denver, I think I might have to hide out somewhere because their people have been actually very, very nasty to me in Instagram direct messages, really actually threatening me and stuff like that. But the all I said was that there shouldn't be pro sports in Denver because it's unfair advantage. But the Lakers would be the best one, I think, almost for sure. And finally, hey Steven.
I kind of like the Lakers would obviously be personal for me in a bunch of ways, and I would, depending on the situation of the country, maybe I would be in Philly, maybe I would be here, and obviously in my apartment it'd be tough. But the Clippers, I'm warming to the Clippers as being the answer, both for Doc and the Paul George Steph thing, and also
answer.
Just like revenge against Kawhi.
No.
And Alyssa would be so pro Sixers against that matchup because she hates the Clippers, and so that would feel good for me. It might be kind of the best of all, like a rivalry, but also not destroying my relationship, and also like individual beefs and Kawhi revenge, which I obviously would like to expunge those demons.
That is Lakers fan Mike, not Sixers fan Mike. No Sixers fan.
Me saying that the Lakers shouldn't make the championship?
No, beating LeBron and the Lakers is better than beating the Clippers.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Beating LeBron in the finals would be very cool.
Yeah.
For sure.
And final email from Steven. Hey guys, so after a long period of working from home, the government in my country finally allowed people to go back to work. I live relatively near my work, so I cycle to work every day. A few days ago, I found myself in a situation which I wish I hadn't been in and gave me the inspiration for this jigsaw. I have a habit of immediately going to the toilet to pee when I arrive at work, so I can start my day fresh with an empty bladder. So one morning, as usual, I went to the toilet but noticed I had a runny nose. That happens quite often since it's cold outside and changing to a warm inside makes my nose run.
Sure.
So as I was peeing, I decided to blow my nose with a piece of toilet paper. I'm a very good multitasker. But when I finished peeing, I found out the piece of toilet paper I had used to blow my nose was actually the last piece of toilet paper in the entire stall. What meant I didn't have toilet paper to wipe off the last drops of pee off my penis.
Okay.
I froze for a moment. I was contemplating to just pull my underwear up and deal with the pee drops, or I could use the piece of toilet paper I used to blow my nose to also wipe away the pee drops. Or maybe I should have done it the other way around. First pee, then wipe off the drops, and then blow my nose with the used toilet paper. Here's the jigsaw. Would you rather blow your nose first and use the piece of toilet paper to wipe the pee drops off your penis? Or would you rather pee first and then use that piece of toilet paper to blow your nose in? Greetings, Steven. P.S. I'm not going to tell you which decision I made because you'll probably think I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, the answer, if you have to choose, if this is the jigsaw, you obviously blow your nose and then if you need to dab your penis, then you do that to get the last drops. But the option that I would choose and always choose is just a good firm shake.
Shake.
A good vigorous shake, and you're out of there.
Mike. I'm not judging Steven. I'm not judging anyone.
I mean, there's like a cleanliness to it of like, wow, what an honorary thing that you have to every time you could take a little dab of paper and just like a little compress it, and the water comes up, and then you're like, okay, done with pee. I think that's nice. I think it's like a cute thing to do. But who are we joking? We're guys.
No one
we
does
shake,
that.
and then some drops of pee go in our pants. That's what happens. That's what always happens. It's what happened to our fathers, and it's what happened to our children. That is what we do. We're stupid, and we have pee in our pants all the time. We're men.
That's why you wash your underwear, because they're full of pee. That's why. shake a couple of times. This dude's peeing into the paper and then wiping his nose with it. It's like...
That's tough.
All right.
That's tough. I want specific toilet paper just for dab of pee.
Dab of pee paper.
Just a little dab of pee. Just a tiny guy. Like, that's all I need. And that's good.
Attention, Dollar Shave Club. There's your pee papes. It's like a little 2x2 inch square. Sorry, we weren't able to have Michael Bivens on again.
Bivens just missed the cut.
He did have trouble logging on. We will work to get him on next week. Thank you, Michael Bivens, for at least trying to get on, but didn't work out this time, so we'll have you next week. We will talk to you Sunday after the Spurs game, and all expectation as long as Embiid tests negative tomorrow and Simmons tests negative Saturday.
Good. We didn't talk about this, but I like that they're using the same barber. The vibes are good.
Different time, though. They went on different days.
But they're still like they could talk about it. That's something that they can sort of shoot the shit about.
Yeah.
And it just binds them together more to be barred from the All-Star game because of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, I don't mind the week off for them. I don't mind the week off for either guy. That is totally fine with me.
Yep. We were going to pay for it. We offered to maybe pay some money to get them to skip the game. So
yeah, I know we got it anyway. I was, by the way, my episode of Young Rock was not on Tuesday. It is this coming Tuesday.
It sounds like you're tricking people to get them to watch all the
I'm very read in on what the scheduling is. They always check with me first. No, my episode that Patrick Kang and I wrote of Young Rock comes out this Tuesday, so you can watch the previous 3 episodes on Hulu or NBC.com or whatever. So set those DVRs and watch the friggin' episode.
Somebody in the YouTube comment said, called you a boomer and said nobody uses DVR anymore. Is that true? I thought people use DVR. Or do they just use on demand?
I think if people don't have cable, I think there's the cord cutters in that sense.
Oh, well, fuck them kids. Do
whatever you need to do to watch it. Watch it, get those ratings in, and get me a season 2. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll talk to you Sunday night after the Spurs game. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, you know, like face.
If you don't fuck with me, then I won't fuck with you.
If you don't fuck with me,
then I won't fuck with you.
But if you fuck with me,
I'm gonna fucking kill you!
Time for Plan B.